for tonight. Welcome to the Pew and The Porch podcast, where real conversations meet real faith. My name is Lauren Meeks, and I currently serve as the PNBC Youth President, and I will serve as your host for tonight. Last episode, we talked about identity beyond the filter, how social media, comparison, and pressure can impact how we see ourselves. But tonight, we want to continue that conversation. Because behind a lot of smiles, selfies, achievements, and I'm okay responses, many young people are struggling with things silently. So tonight's question is simple. Are you good? Like, for real? Let's talk about what's happening right now. Studies continue Studies continue to show rising levels of anxiety, loneliness, and emotional stress among young people. Many teens and young adults say they feel pressure to always look okay, to always be productive, and to always have it together online. At the same time, many admit to struggling silently and they don't always know how to talk to someone. And research consistently shows that having trusted mentors and healthy support systems can make major differences emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. So tonight, we're going to talk about mental health, pressure and comparison, mentorship and support, identity and purpose, and why safe people matter. So let's check our status. I want everyone to answer honestly. When someone asks, "How are you?" how do y'all usually answer? Who do we want to start with?
I'll go. I would typically answer, I'm okay or I'm doing good.
Okay. What about you, Princeton?
Um, I'll respond with I'm doing great or I'm good too. Yeah.
Okay. Minister Maisha?
So I usually say I'm good. And I smile with it, whether I'm good or bad. I usually say I'm good.
Okay. Brandy, what about you?
Normally say I'm well and yourself. But typically, just like Minister Maisha, I always lead with a smile.
Yeah. I would say I do the same thing. I'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm good. How about you? Honestly.
Yeah.
So why do we think that so many young people hide how they really feel? Or why do we think people in general hide how they feel?
Well, people hide how they feel because they're afraid of what other people are going to say. Because words do have power. We may say that, oh, that didn't offend me, but behind closed doors, we'd be like, how did they have the nerve to say that about me? How did they have the nerve to say what they said? So that's probably why some people don't say their real emotions because we do have, gossipers and people who will pick on you. Yes, we do have adults as bullies. As corny as it sounds, we do have adults as bullies, yes. So yeah, so that's just why.
I
Okay.
also think, oh, I'm sorry. I also think people don't share or do anything because sometimes, like, I think sometimes we just do it because, that's just the way that we do, or that's just the way that we greet people. And then sometimes, like, you don't want to share because you may think, like, they really don't care, or like, you know, it's, 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 it's not a big deal.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Do we think that social media has made this better or worse? Oh, it looks like Minister Maisha wants to answer that one.
Go ahead.
So,
We
so
ain't bullies.
listen, I think that social media has made it worse, honestly, because we have a hard time expressing how we feel because we're so busy trying to avoid the negative comments that you see or the negative publicity or the negative, negative side of things. um so we just put on that face like everything is okay because you're afraid of what people will say, and then social media prevents us from doing personal interaction, so you kind of don't know how to interact when you're in a personal setting. Um, and I'm just because I email a lot, right? So you can't email anybody or do like team chats and things like that. If you email all caps, you're yelling at me. And it might be you just forgot to take the caps lock off, but to me you are yelling. So now I'm like, oh, it's on because now we have an issue. So I think because we social media has prevented us from having that face-to-face interaction, so you're not quite sure how people are responding to you or what they're saying to you. Amber or
Um,
Princeton?
Um, well, number one, I remember if I ever text or email you, I will make sure them caps are off. and and number two, I do agree. It's also just how the way you give someone advice or how you take it to and stuff. So that's just with social media. How you do certain things is the result of the situation that you may go in with a person.
yeah, I would say now I'm a second grade teacher, so like watching kids grow up around like social media, they literally write how they would text or like how they would comment on social media. So it'd be like, "How are you?" and it'd be like a R. Like, what are you doing right now? And it's like they don't know any better because they're kids, but social media really influences like young people. Like it's everything that they see. They just came out the womb talking about, "I'm making a TikTok." How are you making a TikTok? Yeah, so I think social media really does impact our young people today. It's just that I really don't want to see that kind of happening with our generation. I want us to flourish and use it for the correct reasons. Like, yes, there can be good reasons for social media, but also, you know. So, social media also can help keep people connected. But honestly, I think that a lot of people still feel lonely. Do y'all agree?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I want to ask you, why do you agree? Why do you think people feel lonely?
Well, people don't always reach out, you know? Like you have a person's phone number. When's the last time you called, text, or check in? And I'm gonna be honest, that's something I gotta, work on too and stuff. And because I don't really call, not because I have no personal issues, just I be in my own space, and that's what really can get us into bad situations and ruin friendships with families. When you be in your own space instead of being in the space with your family and friends, and just checking on them to see how they're doing, it could ruin relationships. So that's why just be careful with having social media, because if you don't use it, then things like that can really push it to another level.
I will say on social media, a lot of things that I see on my feed are like life updates. So like, oh hey, I just got married. For me, I just finished my first year teaching, so I will say I definitely posted, hey, I just finished my first year teaching. Like, I think social media can be used as like life update type things. So I can see like the pros and the cons, because rather than me like texting my friends, I'm just gonna tell social media. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, is that wrong?
I'm
Um.
not going to say it's wrong. I'm not going to say that. It helps you get a wide base. So, like, I have family in Georgia, I have family in Florida, I have family in Washington D.C. So, yeah, life updates on social media help that way because you don't have to. If you don't have a family group chat, everybody can probably get the same update and then congratulate you or give you some pointers. Um, but you got to have your core group that keep you grounded. And I mean, I think if I was your best friend, I'd feel kind of shaded that you would just say, "Hey," on social media. I finished my first year teaching. I'm like, you didn't even call me and tell me like how'd it go? What were the pros and cons? Like, is this the profession for you? I think I would give you a call as soon as I saw it on social media. Like, that's bold. This is how I find out. Like, it's just it's to me. Make sure your core friends know before you put it on social media.
Yeah, I could agree with that. But I also think going back to like it feeling lonely, just because, hey, I finished, you didn't see the struggles. You didn't see me trying to figure out how to teach these kids this. So I do feel like social media does allow us to hide a lot of the things that we're feeling on the inside. Amber, what do you think about that? Like, Have you ever like seen anything like that on your social media?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, it can be lonely because you can have thousands of followers and you can still feel lonely. Um, I think even just like I think we talked about in the last podcast, just reaching out to people and to see how they're doing because sometimes like we can see like oh they're doing good on social media, but not reaching out to the person is like they're probably struggling, like you said, like you don't see the struggle, so like you only see the end results. So I think it's important to reach out because sometimes just like being by yourself is it's lonely, like especially like if you're like posting on Instagram and stuff like that. You never know. So yeah.
Yeah. Amber, while you're talking, I want to ask you, as a college student, what are some pressures that you face that people don't always see? Or what are some pressures that other people face that you don't always see?
The pressures. Um, I guess fitting in, that's a pressure. Especially being a Christian because listen, we can't fit in. But but that it just it's hard to connect with people. Especially like I don't know how to explain it. Like the pressures of being with people who are like very in the world and then trying to find like that balance. I think another pressure is just also loneliness and trying to like connect with people in college because it's really hard to like make friends in college. Like if you don't got a group before you get to college, it is really hard to find your people. But I thank God because I found my people, and I think it's good to connect to like clubs and stuff like that, which releases a lot of pressure and like standards if you join clubs. So I would definitely say join lots of clubs. Um, and yeah, I think it's just trying to fit in, um, meeting people, and the workload. That's a pressure too. Listen, the many days where I've been stressed out about classes and school, but the Lord's still keeping. But yeah,
So can I ask you, you said something about like trying to fit in. How did you navigate fitting in like your first semester? Like what were the things that you did? I know you mentioned clubs, so like what are some other things that you did to try to fit in essentially?
I think just being myself and like putting myself out there. Um, Aside from joining clubs, just like getting connected to people in my classroom and um, just being intentional with standing out and like saying, hey, like I'm here, and just getting connected to the right people.
Yeah, I love that. I actually graduated about like a year ago now, so I totally understand. But you're gonna push through. You got it. You get your core group, like Minister Maisha said, and you're good to go.
Mm,
Honestly, I
yes,
will
I know
say.
that's right.
So now that we have talked about college, I want to ask Princeton, how is it a little different, with high school and all?
Um, well, fitting in like in sports, like when you try to fit in, obviously you got to get in good shape. Got to have just the skills and the abilities to play football or wrestling or anything. But fitting in, there's a lot of kids who fit in for sports or try to fit in with friends and fit into a lot of like group of people you really want to be alike, to so to speak, to put in simple terms. But when it comes down to fitting in, I have to say be careful with that because you don't want to like fit in and like get yourself around the wrong crowd too when it comes down to fitting in as well. So fitting in does lead into clubs like Amber and stuff, leads into getting into sports and stuff. But when it comes down to like fitting in with, be careful where you're fitting in and who you're fitting in with, because it could lead you to a path that you may not be able to get out of. A lot of people say, "Hey, I can change. I can get out of certain things," but it's a lot harder than it's a lot harder than getting out than it looks. So yeah.
So as far as like fitting in as a Christian, I know when I was in college, It was this specific church. It's called like we call it FW, but it's FWPC. But it was like down the street. So they would send a bus every Sunday to come to like the different dorms on campus to come pick us up, take us to church, and then they would drop us off. So I know like that's something that my roommate that I have now, that's how I found her, is because both of us would be going to FWPC every Sunday riding that bus. So what are some other ways that you would say like you could fit in as a Christian, or how do you stand out as a Christian?
I'll take this one. I'll give y'all a break. So it depends on so in the where I went to Kentucky State University. So there was a gospel choir, so you already knew everybody's background, right? They came from the church. Ooh, that bubble popped up. They came from the church. Um, so you knew that they had a core faith base like you did. It's holding your core values. If you know you're not a drinker, if you know you're not a smoker, make sure that you hold tight to that when you're trying to make friends with people or find your core group. The group that I am now family with, because once we graduated from college, we still connected. We're aunts and uncles to each other's kids. Um, Even though we were, I'm not gonna lie, at school I wasn't like, yes, I'm in love with Jesus, but I made sure that people knew, that Jesus was my foundation. But like now we're deacons, we're reverends, we're opening our own churches. Making sure you find those people with those core values is how you separate yourself with fitting in and still living your Christian life. Because there's nothing wrong with being Christian, right? We try to make it seem like you just can't do anything. We party. We had gatherings at the house. We would cook together on the holidays when we were still on campus. We would go out bowling. We would go out and having fun. You can still do all of that and be a Christian. I still listen to Outkast. I listen to Erica Badu. I listen to all kinds of music, but I also know that I start my day with my Bible and I end my day with my Bible. I read my scripture and I pray, but that doesn't mean like you just have to be cut yourself off from society. You're able to enjoy life. You just make sure you set your boundaries so people know that your faith comes first before you do anything else.
I also think that like finding people who are going to bring you to the right direction, which is very important because speaking from experience, I went through terrible friends, and then I like was very intentional about my prayer, like asking the Lord, this is like what I want. Like I need a friendship who's going to lift me up. I need a friendship who's going to hold me accountable and going to bring me closer to you. And he did that and more. And he brought me a connection to a community. And I think that's what is needed to pray for your community and to um, find people who are going to lift you up and not bring you down.
Let me ask y'all a question. How many of you wear name brand clothes like Nike, Adidas, wear stuff that has the emblem or the name on your clothing? Now, would you wear t-shirts that says I love Jesus or Jesus is my rock, or do you think about it twice before you put it on, and do you think about where you're going before you put it on?
I'll say for me, I'm very into clothes. So I will buy like something stylish. Like I have a green hoodie, it says like Jesus on the back. So I like to like, combine the two of stylish and God. And you boom.
Yeah, I also agree. Like, I have this one shirt that says it's like a Disciple 7 hoodie. Well, it's a jersey. It's from Raina Signature. I love that sweater. But it like in the back it says "Child of God," and I like to style with the different pieces. I'm also wearing this shirt that says "She is worthy" in this Proverbs 31. I think you see it. But yeah, I like to wear like my God clothing and stuff like that.
It's a conversation starter, right? That's kind of
Yes,
your way of being
it
a
is.
disciple. It's a
Yeah.
conversation starter. Like somebody sees first, because first they're gonna see their boat, because that's the first thing I saw when you pulled your shirt. I saw the boat, so they can come up and be like, "Oh, that's the boat. Oh, can you tell me what that means?" Because people are inquisitive, right? So I think just like if I throw on a Nike, people say they'll come up and say, "I got a Nike jogging suit." They're like, "Oh, that's a sweet Nike jogging suit." Same thing with our faith based clothing, right? I have a God is dope jogging suit, and I wear it everywhere. I love it. It's army green. I throw on my army green Nike boots, and I throw on my vest. But it's God is dope down the leg, and God is dope on the front. And then when some, I had a older person, they were like, that word dope is not really a positive way to describe God. I said, in whose world? I said, you have to think outside of what you remember what dope was and think about the language of today. God is dope to me. He's done everything I've asked him to do for me. He goes above and beyond anything I ask him to do. But like I said, your clothing is a conversation starter. So that's a part of you, fitting in as a Christian, right? You got your clothing on, and then that's another way to draw people into, people that are like minded like you.
While we're on the topic of, evolution, I want to ask, do y'all think that older people or adults underestimate what young people carry emotionally? Who wants to
Can I
go
Absolutely.
take
first?
this?
Princeton,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'll take. Um, saying like adults, what judge younger people,
Yeah,
basically.
so basically, do
Yeah.
they do they basically think that young people have no issues, they have nothing happening emotionally, mentally, nothing?
Um, I mean, probably. I mean, we do live in a crazy young generation, so I can't really blame, the respectfully older generation, respectfully the older generation, for judging the young generation of how like we'll think or do things. Because I mean, we got a lot of young kids doing things nowadays, with drinking, the drugs and stuff. So I mean, at that point, I think they have all right to judge. I mean, if you do things, if you continue to do things that ain't right or just plain out crazy, you can't really blame like someone judging you at that point. I know judging in all in general, judging ain't really like a thing we should be doing. Like, because there is a saying, never judge a book by its cover. But if you continuously doing something that just drives a whole bunch of people to question who you are, then at that point you deserve to be judged. So yes, I do think the older generation judges the younger generation just off the things that us young generation have done and still do nowadays. Yeah.
So do you think that they underestimate the amount of things that we have to go through on a daily basis?
Um, Probably not to like be rude, but just yeah, they probably do underestimate because they look at it as if they ain't like having the like knowledge to know that's wrong, then why should like we believe that they have the knowledge to, build the young future or the young generation's future. So yeah, I do think they underestimate, but I can't blame them because of, like I said earlier, the things young people do nowadays. I can't blame them for us underestimating us. I mean, we young crazy generation. We young crazy generation. We just that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. But yeah.
I
Yeah,
think.
go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead. I think just to speak on that, I think if we're talking like about by the word, it talks about judging righteously. So we should it shouldn't be a judgment of condemnation or judging of, oh, like you can't do that, like I'm like, or disappointment, because God is the ultimate judge. And I believe that the kids are doing a lot right now. Like it's a lot going on in this generation. But I think with adults, I think it should be more in their prayer room, or giving them speaking to them with wisdom and grace, and not coming at them with, oh, you did this wrong, you can't do this, you can't do that. Because we all been through stuff, even adults, even adults as kids, they done stuff. So I think that now, like as adults, they should be able to speak with wisdom and grace, and to judge righteously. Yeah.
I'm gonna say
So I'm gonna say it like this: you all are way more exposed to anything. You all have I went to the library. You know what I'm saying? I had to look up stuff at a library. I had a typewriter when I went to school. A lot of times adults get older and they get set in their ways and they forget what it was to be young and inexperienced. And then they want to look at you like, oh my God, what are you doing? I was once 21. I was once 15. I was once 25. Um, and the other thing is we didn't have cameras everywhere. We didn't have anything that could record the craziness that we got into. But it's not that you all are doing something so out of the realm of character that any other generations done. We all do things when we think that nobody's watching, right? We do some things that we're like, oh, I can get away with it this one time, or nobody's ever gonna know. The only thing is that you all have phones, cameras on your phone. You have cameras on anything, and anything can be recorded. Um, so you have to be way more careful. you know, I have my daughter's location everywhere she goes. Am I checking it every time she goes out? No, but it's a security, but yet it's a way to just make sure that she's okay. And but when I was 16, I had a car. When I was gone, I was gone. There was no location. I didn't have a plant in my arm that my mom knew where I was. If I said I was going somewhere, she trusted I went there. If I didn't make it back on from curfew on time, I was in trouble. Now I can say, "Oh, my child is here. She better have her behind home in 15 minutes because she said she was gonna be here in 15 minutes." Um, so it's adults forget that we once had that we once were in that same age group, but we also, like you said, we have to give you some grace because you are openly exposed. This digital era has you openly exposed to everything. You can say, you can type something and think you deleted it, and somebody can find it years later. So actually you all have to be more careful. So when you ask the question, Lauren, about do we underestimate how you are feeling, we do, because we do not understand the pressures of basically being on watch all the time. And with this digital era, you're being watched all the time.
While we're discussing like the differences of us growing up, I want to say, how do you guys think that we can bridge the gap between younger people and older people so that they better understand what young people are dealing with?
Hey y'all, I'm back.
Brandy, welcome back.
I'm back. But I can answer questions though. So I think just having simple conversations and not on the means of like, hey, how you doing? Like your skirt looks nice and keep it pushing, but like just like really like taking the time out to talk to one another. Like and that's like maybe doing like something like outside the box, like maybe like for Princeton, like maybe going to like a men's ministry at your church or like a women's group and be like, oh, that's just full of old ladies. Sorry, seasoned ladies. Sorry. But but it's like it's one of those things where maybe somebody or something was said that was like resonates with you. And I think like on the flip side, maybe like the season a generation have like those deep conversations of like what like not the sugarcoat things, but to like get down and dirty of how it was. And I think like once we have those conversations, like things will start back up and like bridging that gap will come. Because like that's how you build trust as well. So I think if we start doing that.
I think for us to have those conversations, it definitely takes an open mind from both parties. So you being willing to listen to what I'm saying and me being willing to listen to what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying, and we're actually listening to each other's perspectives. But Princeton, I saw that you had something to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, therefore when it comes down to like young and old generation, try to like limit, our judgment, because like I said earlier, the old generation has, the right to just judge the young generation how, the young generation is nowadays. But us, the young generation, are still, the future, and still we still have plans and goals. It may not look like we're trying to exceed to those goals, but we still have, goals that we're trying to exceed to. And it brings me back to that saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Just because it looks like sun doesn't mean it's probably going to end up being that result. And to bring, some Bible into this, if you go to and read First Samuel and 17, it talks about David and Goliath, right? Goliath was Judge David. When he found out that he was going to fight David, he looked down at David like, this puny guy, he gonna beat me. But he judged him, not realizing that David had the power of God by his side. So when you judge people and how they are in life, maybe it's not how they act. It's just because they're still trying to work on it, and God's just, guiding them through. We don't see God by their side holding them hand. We just see the struggles that they're going through. But maybe sometimes God is probably making them go through those struggles, because God will have us go through struggles to build us up stronger, you know, because we don't want to be, just a person that can't handle any issues or can't handle, situations, and we break down. God's trying to make us go stronger. So that's why I say limit judgment. So don't judge people how they are. Judge them on the fact that they're trying to do better. They're trying to exceed and grow. That's that's what I'm saying. Just limit the judgment.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think judgment is a lot of what's wrong with society today. Having our open mind. If you look in our comments, they said we should not judge anyone. We must learn to be open. And
Yep.
that is truthfully how we grow as people. So, moving on to our next segment. Have you ever felt emotionally exhausted but still showed up smiling?
Every day. What? Every day. Seriously, no. Life is life in. Okay, no. And in all honesty, um, so sorry, but y'all,
Every
come
day.
on. Every day. You gotta the stress. Okay, so I live in Michigan. It's construction. That's stressful right there. I got to get through people cutting me off, and I'm trying to be patient, but get to work on time, even though I left 5, 10 minutes late, and it's my fault. But I still want you out my way so I can get to work. And then I got to get to work and deal with people and deal with your problems. And I haven't even had my coffee yet. So now I'm stressed even more. And then let's talk about church. We go to church, and then you come to church, you try to be like, okay, God, I got this today. And the person's like, what do you have on? That skirt is too short, or your pants. Why you got your ankles showing with your pants? You know how some old folks are upset that the young men have the ankle pants now. Why your ankles showing and you at church? Like, God didn't say I had to come dressed to impress. He said, "Come as you are." Like, what is wrong with you? I every day, no, but
Ms. Reverend Maisha, I don't know if you remember, but we was you had a class in Chicago and I was there, and you told
I
us, yeah,
remember you.
yep, and you was telling me how you what them kids, they were wild, and I could tell your pages were real thin, and you would
Hey, I
always
love
say
y'all though. I love
y'all
y'all.
and you always say y'all better be careful, don't bring out that Detroit, what the Detroit side of me, that Detroit side.
There was a side of me before I said yes to God. There was a side. There was a, but I gave the Lord my hand, and but in all honesty, I'm so serious. For somebody to say that they're happy all the time and that life does not cause them to sometimes sit and reflect is a story. Every day is a day that you choose to be better. Every day you wake up, that alarm goes off. The first thing that goes across your head, if you're not praying first, is like, God, what is it today? What do you want me to do today? How do you want me to face today? Um, God, you may have had something that was on your mind last night, and you wake up in the morning like, God, you know what? It's either we're gonna do good, or it's either we're gonna struggle through this day. So let's go. What we gonna do today, God? And then I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I have to be honest with y'all. Every day I get up and I sit up in my bed and we have a 5, 10 minute conversation. God, okay, it's a meeting today. You know how I feel about these people. I need you here. I need that angel right here talking in my ear, telling me not to say anything
Mm.
ungodly, because they try to take me there. Same thing with people that try to check you about being a Christian, but they see you on campus. Baby, yes, I know Jesus, but yes, I know these hands too. And I want you to understand that
That
God is
part.
with me and walking with me, But you may get me one time, but you're not gonna keep pushing me, and I'm just gonna keep walking away. Sometimes I have to defend myself. So I don't want you all to think that you have to be humble and meek in being a Christian. You have to be honest. You have to tell God, God, today's a struggle. I woke up today and today I feel it's going to be a struggle. So I need you a little more right now. I need you to walk with me a little. I need you to hold my matter of fact, I need you to carry me because I can't walk it today. I do not have the strength. When Amber, when you were talking about classes and things like that, some of your classes, you sit down and you sit at the computer, you like, I don't even remember what I saw, what I was learning in class today. I don't these notes did not make sense. I wrote them. Yeah, that's my handwriting, or I typed them up. But God, I need you to help my focus because sometimes we get unfocused. That's the thing about social media. I could be typed. I have a class now. I owe 3 papers, y'all. I can sit down at my laptop and then I'll for some reason get distracted. First of all, I shouldn't have my phone next to me. That's number one. But I'll get distracted and I'll start scrolling and now I'm away from what I was supposed to be doing. And an hour later, I'm like, I have not done what I was supposed to do that I had a schedule for my paper. We have to take that time to be honest with ourselves. Because like you said, it's that when you show up and you say, I'm good. I'm good. Somebody asks you how you doing. I'm good. Nope, I'm not. Nope. Today you need to talk to Jesus. You can't talk to me. I can't do it right now. I'm not emotionally there. I'm not socially there. I just need you to give me a minute to for me and Jesus to connect and then I can talk to you. Okay, I'm sorry. I talked too long. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So when
That's
we have
good.
these
That's good.
like occurrences, how do we pause and ask people for help? Like, what do we do? At what moment are you like, yeah, let me just stop right here?
I think for me, that moment where you feel like that urge to just go off, or like you get real heated, or it's like that slight moment, and it's just like, okay, let me stop, let me breathe, let me just walk away, because I can't get pulled down on that level, and nor do I want to be pulled down on
Yeah.
whatever level that they're on. So just take time, breathe. Sometimes, like a lot of times at my job, I'll just hum, and I'll hum a gospel song, and I just sit in my corner and I just rock because I was like, nah, like I don't know what type of energy, I don't know what type of spirit that I walked into. Let me sit in my corner and hum and
Yeah.
get myself together before I do anything else because I'm not trying to go to HR, and I need money. I need my job. So the truth. It's
I
the truth.
feel for me, I would say like when I'm at work and we just had a rough start because my planning period is like an hour after school starts, and I'm like, yeah, today's gonna be a day. I literally take the planning period. I sit. I have a beanbag. I sit on the beanbag, and I
Yeah.
just sit there in the silence. I just like I'm like, okay, please help me to be patient today, God. I'm not gonna make it if I'm not patient. So for me, I think that's my moment. And then like school wise, today I did like 4 assignments, and my eyes started to get blurry. I said, yeah, it's about time for me to go home. But what are some other things that y'all do, Amber and Princeton?
Um, School. I definitely need some patience. I ain't got no bullets, but them kids be wild, just wild, talking loud. I be at lunch, kids yelling. I'd be like, Lord, you say lay hands in the name of Jesus, but if they don't quiet down, it's because I be like, please, why are y'all yelling? And then when the teachers be like, why y'all talking loud? They'd be like, I ain't talking. I ain't talking. I'd be like, I know the point of y'all is to annoy the teachers, but y'all annoying me too. I'm trying to get some work done. Yeah, so y'all might want to pipe it down. So at school, I just don't even worry about it. Don't let things bother me. One thing about me, I got a tough shell. I got a real tough shell. And my mom told me about that too. I got a tough shell. You know, is there a point at a time where I'll go like places or church or anything, and I do be happy, but my like expression be serious. It'll be
Mhm.
serious, and sometimes be like, well, I'm happy. And I ain't mad or something. People be like, are you okay? I'll be like, I'm fine. And it was like, just look on your face. But so, just when you go to places and have patience, don't always show anger. Don't always show. It's okay to show like pretending happy. Sometimes it's okay sometimes to show some pretending happy. At some point, you do have to be honest. Say, hey, working my nerves a little bit. It is okay to say nicely, of course. Hey, I think you shouldn't. We shouldn't like act a certain way, or hey, I think next time, try to actually have a conversation with me, and how you yelled and stuff. I didn't, appreciate that and stuff and all that, but it is like okay to show some type of kindness because you don't have like patience and stuff, but it's also okay to show like some compassion to others because they might not know you not have patience. They may make jokes and be like, hey, such such. You'd be like, no, that joke wasn't really
Not
cool. Just
today.
next time just chill on the joking. This next time chill on the joking. But it's just all about having a real strong shell, but also being compassionate of others as well. You know.
Okay, I want to say I know that we all lean on the Lord whenever we have those hard times or before those hard times start. But does anyone have like a mentor or like a friend or someone who helps keep you grounded and challenges you to be better like every day? And what does that relationship look like? I actually want to start with Amber on this one.
So one of my mentors is my mother. I talk to her about everything, and like, although she's my mother, she has so much wisdom beyond her years, and I like she gets so much wisdom. So I seek her for a lot of the things, and I also have another mentor. She's like my spiritual aunt, and she's given me a lot of wisdom as well. And I think it's very important to have mentors to guide you into the right direction. Yeah. Wait, did I answer the question? What was the other question?
Hey, can I ask you like at what time? Sorry, you answered like part A. I'll ask you part B. So
Oh,
like, at what time periods do you feel like, yeah, I'm just gonna call my mom? Like, how do you decipher who you're gonna call? Like, is it just, oh, my mom's always first? She don't answer, auntie. Like, how do you
yeah,
decipher?
yeah, it would definitely be like that. My mom, I would tell her everything, and it would be a time where I just don't know what to do. Like if I'm praying, seeking the Lord, and it's like, okay, I went to the Lord about it, but I still need clarity. I still need clarity. I would go to my mentor and seek that clarity, and they will help because they got wisdom from the Lord.
Okay. Anybody else have like a mentor, friend, someone who challenges you every day?
I'm at the agree with Amber. I call my mother, and she's also on the chat too. Hey, ma. But and then, so especially at work, especially when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna use the bathroom. I'll be back. I pick up my phone. I'll be like, ma, guess what they did today? Guess who said like I am the first? And she's like, just calm down. It's good. Just let it roll off. It's fine. And I'm like, but no. But also, if she doesn't answer the phone, one. How come you didn't answer the phone like when I call?
What are you doing?
Because what was you
Right.
doing? Like, who was you talking to that was more important than me? Like, so that's number one. But and I feel like we all get I feel like we all get
Good
that's a
answer.
good answer. Sorry, but I feel like as a growing adult, like I feel like when we call our parents, I feel like they're always supposed to answer. They're always supposed to come with advice. They're always supposed to be there. But also it's that calming spirit. It's just like, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, okay. Like yeah, you're right. Like I gotta, focus back and like stay on the task at hand because again, I'm only there for a few hours. I'm only here to, do what I need to do, stay on task and move forward. Um, I want to say other mentors, like every once in a while, like I have like a really good like a sister friends, and sometimes they just like their name is like placed on my heart, on my mind. I'd be like, what are you doing next week? Like, let's meet up and like have breakfast, or let's meet up and do this. Like, you've been on my mind, and then like vice versa, like, oh, well, you've been on my mind too. Let's get together, such and such. So it's just to have like those good
core like a Christian friends that you can go to and talk about anything and just feel free and like the vice versa. So I think that's what it is for me.
I'll say for me, my mom, she work. She not gonna answer the phone. I talk to her in the morning and at night. Anytime between the day, she's cut. You know. So for me, I have a friend. His name's Isaiah. He kind of like helps me like stay grounded, and he challenges me. So like for us, like traditions that we have every Sunday, we pray over like our whole week. And then we kind of set goals. So those goals are things that we want to accomplish throughout this week. So, oh, hey, it's Wednesday. These are your goals for the week. Have you done it? No, I didn't do it. Okay, well, the week's almost over. So I think like having strong friends like that is also very important because he definitely keeps me grounded and challenges me. Because when I feel frustrated and my mama not answering, I'm gonna call him. I will say. While we're talking about being grounded, I want to ground us spiritually for a moment. Galatians chapter 6 verse 2 says, "Carry each other's burdens." That reminds us that we were never meant to navigate our lives alone. So, I want to go to Minister Maisha. What happens when people suffer silently for too long? And what does that look like?
It shows up on the outside. It shows up physically, your health. It shows up in the way you respond to people. Like even if they do the slightest thing, you're ready to snap at someone. It shows in just how you physically look. You know how some people say they look like they've lived a hard life. Um, when you try to keep things bottled up and say I can handle it by myself, it comes out physically. It comes out in your heart issues, your weight issues, um, and anything that outwardly is trying to get out of you. Um, it's a and I know a lot of people say, but I don't want anybody to know what I'm going through. Nobody's perfect. The only person that was perfect was Jesus. Everybody has an issue. Everybody has something that they're struggling with in the background. Um, the thing is that if you have to find a trusted source, whether it not be, you know how you were talking about who do you go to? Sometimes it's writing it out in a journal to get it out. Sometimes it's seeking a professional counselor, a professional psychologist. I mean psychiatrist that can sit down and help you navigate those things because we're like you said, we're not meant to figure this thing called life alone. We're not. If that was the case, it'd be one human. There are so many humans. It's not just one person. There's a reason why the group that you're in now, you're connected. God connected you. For some reason, the people that you are with, that you contact, that when mom doesn't answer the phone, y'all put so much stress on us mamas. I answer
Because
the
why are you
phone
not answering the phone?
That part.
because I
That
work.
part.
but there's a reason there's a reason you connect with your best friend. There are life journeys that you all go through together, right? There's things that your best friend knows that your mom doesn't know. There's things that you just need somebody else to just let you vent so that it doesn't, because I'm telling you, so that it doesn't fester on the inside. um the hard part is making sure you find somebody who doesn't judge you when you tell them that part about you that you're struggling with. That's the part that all of, because none of us want to be judged, right? We want somebody to listen to us without saying you shouldn't do that or you shouldn't be that way. But then whatever they're going through, you be like, you shouldn't either. um so we try our best to, or we should try our best to first seek, like Amber said, first you ask God about it. Like, God, is this person supposed to be the person that I trust my deepest with? Is this the person I'm supposed to be best friends with, or am I just best friends with them because I've been sitting in class with them for years and I was just finding like, well, we're friends because we always doing homework, we always doing projects together. Or what is the sincere connection? Can you pray with that person? Can you let them know I was angry with God today? Me and God, I had an issue with God today. Things did not go the way I've been praying and asking Him for, and He made me mad today. I really thought He was. They say asking you, asking and seek ye shall find, knocking the door be open, and I didn't get my answer. I knocked and that door is still closed. I still don't have the answer. Like Amber said, if she can't get it from her mom, she'll go to her spiritual auntie. Sometimes, and it's not the fact that your spiritual auntie has the answer. Your spiritual auntie directs you in a different way for you to listen, because you sometimes you just had this mindset. This is how I want it to be. And if it's not the way I want it to be, that's not the right way. But God's like, I don't need you to go that way, because that way it's going to be even more difficult if you just follow this path right here. So if your mom doesn't give you the answer, sometimes your spiritual auntie can help you say the same thing your mom was saying, but because you're hearing it from your spiritual auntie, you're like,
Right,
oh,
right.
that makes so much sense. And your mom is like, I just told you that the exact same thing. But it's just sometimes we're more open. Like you said, your mom's your best friend, but sometimes you feel like your best friend don't have all the right answers. And sometimes you go to that spiritual auntie, she says the same thing, but it's God's guidance. You know what I'm saying? You hear it the second time, and it's like, oh, light bulb. The first time you were closed minded. The first time you had all kinds of other ideas going on. So yeah, if you hold it in, it's gonna hurt. If you hold it in, it hurts. It hurts you physically. It hurts you mentally. Can you think if you're going every day and you have all of these struggles, all of these trials, all of these worries, and you just keep them bottled in, and you got that, but you're trying to learn a new task. You're trying to learn new information in class. You're trying to learn a new job. If you have all of this fighting, you can't retain the new stuff that you're trying to get, which is why I say journal. Journal sometimes helps you release, even when you don't necessarily want somebody to hear it. It still lets it get out of your system, and then when you go back to the journal, you can see how you've grown or how you've changed from that problem or that struggle that you were having.
Piggybacking off of that, if there was like someone that you encountered or someone watching that may be like suffering silently, how would you like help them essentially? How would you approach them? What would you say to them? How would you, go about the interaction?
I'm old school. I write a card. I put it in an envelope. I write a card and put it. Mama Johnson, you can write in all caps. I won't be offended. But I sincerely so today two preachers who have been the backbone of our church preached today, and I know it's been stressful because they step in at a moment's notice when things are seem kind of out of whack. They step in and they're ready because they always tell us to be ready, right? So I wrote a card and my mom baked a pound cake and I gave them, I split it in half and gave them each a half of a pound cake. In the card, I just wrote a prayer like God sees you, God knows that you are a faithful servant. God understands what you're going through, but I just want to let you know that we appreciate you. Sometimes people just need to know, and I'm not saying that they were suffering silent, but you never know what somebody's going through if they don't say it, right? Give them a card, give them something like thinking of you, and just write a note or write a prayer to them and give it to them. That's old school, right? Or shoot them a text message. Hey, I know we haven't talked in about a week, but you were on my mind, and I just want to let you know that I'm praying for you. And if you need to talk, just let me know what day and time you're available, and we can talk.
Okay. I want to ask everyone else, is there something that you might do? Something that you've done in the past or like an experience that you've encountered before?
I think for me, definitely when people come to me, like if they're struggling, my first thing is to pray. Like, listen, we gotta pray. But if they're like, if I know they're struggling and they don't come to me, I'm praying by myself, but also just like texting them and checking up on them, making sure they're good, or like, what else do I do? I guess send a call, and just letting them know that I see them and that it's going to be all right. You know.
Okay. If we had someone watching who was struggling and feeling alone, how could we support them?
Message me.
This
Message me.
prayer.
I'm being so honest. Um, go to the Facebook Messenger or try to find me on Instagram. message me. And just say pray for me. Just say I just need you to listen. It's the quick one-liners that will probably make somebody say, "Dang, I knew I should have called you," and they'll call you right away. Um, or if it's somebody, drop a note in I don't know if you all pass baskets at church when you collect tithes and offerings or anything like that, but sometimes just put it in an envelope. Hey, need special prayer. Da 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 da. Put it in an envelope. Put it in a tray. And let the deacons and the trustees will give it to the deacons, and the deacons will pray over you. Um, there are I mean, I don't, if you don't want to be put on blast, there's just certain people that you should be able to trust, a preacher or a deacon at your church. You should have a spirit, like you said, your spiritual auntie, that even Amber, if you, and I'm only because you said spiritual auntie, but even if it was something, I'm sure you could just text her, hey, I need a moment. And she'll drop whatever she needs or whatever she's doing, because and if you put it in caps, there's certain things that there's certain people, we have helplines um that are anonymous when you just need to speak about what you're going through. But yeah, definitely message me. I don't mind praying for you. I don't mind putting things down and just being that listening ear, because nobody's stress is greater than the other. We all are doing this thing called life one day at a time. We're all trying to figure it out. There's no guidebook. There's no template. And we all have our own personal experiences. My life is not Brandy's. My life is not Lauren's. My life is not Princeton's. My life is not Amber's. But my life is the one that God gave me. And I'm trying to do it the best way I can. And I'm going to mess up. I mess up every day. I messed up today. I cut the pastor off while he was talking. I hit all mute instead of trying to just mute the band. I mean, we all, you know, we all mess up sometimes. I mean, it wasn't intentional. I was doing too much. Um, but but honestly, if there's anybody that's on right now, I like to say that the group of people that you have had so far on these podcasts are very good people to just drop a line and say, "Can you pray for me?" You don't have to explain the situation. You don't have to say, because interceding doesn't mean I need to know every detail.
Correct.
Interceding means that I can just say, God, you know who they are. I'm calling their name, and I just ask you to be with them at this moment. I don't know what's going on, but you do, because God knows each and every one of us. And I need you to just step in right now and let them know that they're not alone. That even when they drop their name in my messenger, that I am at this moment praying for them. And they will receive some relief, or they will receive some guidance. They will receive what they're asking for from you.
Thank you
I'm
for
not
that.
gonna stop.
I
All
would
right.
also say, it just reminds me of the song "Turning Around for Me." That it won't always be like this. The Lord will perfect that's concerning me. Sooner
Come
or
on.
later, it will turn in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
And just as Jesus suffered, because Jesus suffered on the cross, and we're gonna have to suffer as well. And though he's gonna bring us through each and every struggle, or whatever is going in your life, he's gonna bring you through, and is gonna turn around for you.
Thank you for that. All right, moving on to our real talk segment. I want us to be honest for a moment. Finish this sentence. We're gonna start with Brandy. I'm just letting you know. One thing I wish people understood about me is, I'll say it one more time. We're gonna finish this sentence. One thing I wish people understood about me is.
Be careful.
Right. One thing that one more time, one more time, one more time.
One thing I wish people understood about me is.
That just because I I always smile doesn't mean that I am smiling on the inside.
Hmm.
Okay. Next person.
Mm.
Same sense. Same sense.
Again, is one thing I wish people understood about me is
Even though I am a people pleaser, I do need my space. It's okay for me to request space. I am a person that if you ask me to do it, I'll do it if I have the capacity. Matter of fact, I probably overdo because I don't like telling people no. But if I do tell you I can't do it right now, please don't take it personal. I'm my battery is on empty and I need to be refilled.
okay. Do I need to say it again? Yes.
I was like, yeah,
Okay.
we got you,
One
Amber. We
thing,
got you.
one thing I wish people understood about me is
Mm.
Oh my goodness, this is a good one. I think I would say I'm not perfect. Like, and to give a bit background for that is because I'm also a PK, and there are standards. I'm not perfect.
Baby.
Yeah.
okay.
That's a whole
Precious.
statement right there. That's a whole statement right there. Just because my parent is up in that pulpit every Sunday after Sunday doesn't mean that sometimes we at home and we're arguing with each other or we're at home and we have a disagreement or
Right, right.
I'm not going to be human.
Mhm.
They're human in the pulpit. Why do you expect the kid not to be human?
Mhm.
Like
That part.
why can't I mess up? Why can't I decide that I want to skip church too with the other kids because they went to McDonald's during the sermon and I didn't feel like sitting up close and go? Oh, I'm sorry, I digress. But I'm just saying, there those stipulations, though, God. But that's part of the problem with society. We put pastors and bishops and all of those individuals on this level like they aren't human. They
Yeah.
still mess up. They
Mhm.
still sin day to day, the most holiest of holies, and they still sin. They still have thoughts that are not holy. They
Yeah.
still might flip off somebody who crosses them, while they're driving, you know. But you have to understand that just like I go and repent for what I did or what I said or what I thought, that preacher when he gets done in that or she gets done in that pulpit trying to help you get through the next week, they in their own prayer closet like, God, sister so and so or brother so and so came up to me complaining about that same thing and I wanted to go off, Jesus. I really did. But because I know you, I'm going to pray for them. But we got to give the same grace that we give to each other. We got to give to those who we try to put up on this pedestal and remember that we're all human.
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, I do want to say like growing up, my mama made sure I went to church every Sunday. You knew I was gonna be there. That's one thing for sure. And I feel like that kind of like put me on this pedestal, and I was always having to do all of these things in church. Like, oh, we don't have anybody do the scripture. Lauren will do it, kind of pulling me. And it's like, as I get older, it kind of feeds into like the social media thing of you cannot see my imperfections because I was trained to be perfect. Like,
Mm. Say that again, Lauren. Say it again.
Was this
Say it
one?
again, Lauren.
you cannot see my imperfections because I was trained to be perfect. Like, I don't want you to see when I'm struggling to tie my shoe because I'm supposed to be good at tying my shoe. And I think like as I'm getting older, that is something that I'm like struggling with, or I'm getting better at it now. Like my friends are helping me like acknowledge it. Like I didn't like to go skating because I'm not that good. And what if I fall? You can't see me fall. I'm supposed to be good at everything. So I think
Yeah.
like being open with your imperfections is a good thing. And I just want everybody to like keep that in mind when you go about your everyday life. Like everyone is human.
Brandy, ask your
Oh,
mom a question.
which
You saw that? I was trying. I was.
Nope. She put you on blast. Answer the question.
She definitely
Answer
did
the
put me on
question,
blast.
Brandy.
Okay. I call her Miss Mommy, so because that's her name. Miss Mommy. So, at times I did. And it was never a bad thing. Like I enjoy helping. I enjoy being there. I enjoy like if I'm able to do something, I'm more than able to. And again, like just like what Lauren said, I feel like the older you get, the more it's just like, I don't mind doing it, but I feel like there's somebody else that could do it. Um, but like it's like, but it's
Yeah.
also just like, like it's almost like an obligation at that point. But it's like a, but it's hard. It's hard. It's hard because again, it's that expectation also torn with like this is what I want to do, torn with like life itself. Because I think most churches, I'm not gonna say all churches, but most churches struggle with the the representation of like youth and young adults, or
Yeah.
heavy so like the older youth and young adults. So you'll get the same people that doing the same thing all the time, same people, and it's just like I feel like there are more. They just choose not to. And then also with this generation being on social media all the time, you may ask them and they just say no. And it's just like, oh, okay, you no, like no, like no is a word in church. What? I've never heard no in church before. What are you talking about? Um, but I think it's also like how we were raised. We were raised as like, oh yes, put her name down. Yep, and she will be there, and she'll be there on time, and she's gonna know the words. And then for the Easter program, she better not come up there with the paper like this because you're not gonna
Yes.
sit there and embarrassing me. You know, so you memorizing BCRs for the Sunday school program. I mean, but that was just like that was just how it was, and you didn't mind. But now it's just like growing up, it's like, I guess I could have said no. I could have used words, but I don't think. Again, like sometimes, like even at like I'm 31, so even that I sometimes I struggle with no, and that's scary. It's a scary thing because oh my goodness, how dare I disappoint, my parents? How dare I disappoint the church? Like, and how dare I disappoint myself? So,
So
So
my
I want to
daughter
know.
had me in.
Oh,
Let me tell you this quick story. I promise it's gonna be quick. My daughter had me in her phone as mistress of manipulation, and I said, "What does that?" So I saw it one day. I said, "What does that mean?" She said, "Mommy," she said, "a lot of times because you're so dedicated at helping others, you offer that I'll help too, and I really don't want to, but I don't want to hurt your feelings and say no." And that stumped me because I can't put off what I do for my daughter. My daughter is quick to say no. She quick to be like, I ain't doing it. Now, like you said, Brandy, when she was younger, she'd do it because it was an expectation. Mom's outgoing, so the daughter's gonna be outgoing. My daughter could be in a box by herself and be happy as a lark. She'll have to be around nobody and she'll be happy. Me, on the other hand, I like having people around. I like talking to people. And I had to understand that me putting off my personality on her and expecting her to be that same person um was not helping her. It was causing her to feel like many of you felt like, Mama, I love you, but I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to be up in front of everybody. I really don't want to say that speech again. I really don't want them to ask me any questions. I want to come in, go work in the media booth, and go home and not say anything to anybody. Okay? Don't ask me to hug anybody. Don't say sister so and so wants to speak to me. I don't want to see sisters. My daughter would come to work at the church with a hood on her head, go up the elevator, go to the media booth, do her job, eat breakfast up there. And when the church was over, she was out. And I understand it now. But of course, me, the bubbly person that I was, I am whatever. Um, I wanted her to be that same individual, but sometimes we try to push off what people expect of us on our children too. And we have to understand that our children are their own person. And it's okay, like you said, Brand, at 31, it's okay to say no. It's okay to be like, I'm not, I understand that I'm one of three young adults here at the church, but I'm not doing it for you this time. Matter
and
of fact,
I'm working
I'm
on it.
out.
I'm working on it.
I'm
Yep.
out. I'm out. I'm not even gonna be here at church on that day. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm not coming.
I do that now.
Just, I mean, I really applaud the fact that each of you has said that now at this point you've taken the time to start to say no. It took me until I turned 45 to figure that out. And it took me missing my daughter having anxiety about me pushing her into the forefront when she really was okay with being in the background doing things. She didn't want to be on stage at that point. She didn't want to be up front. Um, and for you to know that now is a good thing. For you to understand, remember what I said, the thing about setting boundaries? That setting boundaries helps you grow as a Christian. Because nothing in the Bible says a Christian always has to say yes and they have to do everything in the church. They have to do everything that the church people ask you to do. That is nowhere in the Bible. Do what you do to the glory of God. And sometimes to the glory of God is you keeping your peace and telling you, no, I can't do that today, or I can't do that this week. But you can keep my name on the list, but I just won't be available this time.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Um, Sometimes people will say no to put on an image, as in you don't want to say no to make it seem like you're not a caring person or you don't want to do nothing for somebody. That's why people don't say no. They want to be a person. That's why they say yes all the time. They don't want to be a person to be like, oh well, you don't want to do nothing for me, or oh, I don't want to be a person who thinks, oh, I can't do anything for somebody. They want to say yes to be, to show that person that they're supportive and caring. But you also don't want to let people run over you, because see, people will make you do things and they do it because they know you will say yes.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just really just respectfully stand our ground. They'll be like, no, I ain't doing it, back off, just respectfully say, hey, maybe another time we can, discuss or have this conversation, or hey, maybe another time I can move some things for you or whatever. But it's not the reason. No is not a bad word. Okay, if it was a bad word, then God would even be punish you for it. Like no's no. It's in the vocabulary book. It's there for a reason. It's there for a reason. No's no. But and when you say no, say it respectfully. Don't be like, no, I don't want to do it. Just be like, no, another time maybe. But you also don't want to, with that word no, be disobedient with it too.
Yeah.
Because if God called you to do something, your
Mm.
answer should not be no. Okay,
Say
because
it, Princeton. Say it again. If what?
hey, there's a certain time where you should say no. When God called you to do something, your answer should not be no. No matter how hard the situation you think, you shouldn't even think the situation is gonna be hard if you got God on your side. That's why I understand. That's why I don't understand. Clock it. I know it all. That's why I don't understand. Yep, yep. Go ahead. Get out the way. That's why I don't understand when people say that's impossible. Impossible. If God's living, it ain't impossible.
You
Hello.
better
It's
preach.
just God
You better
living.
preach,
I'm
Princeton.
just saying. If,
Amen.
if
Amen.
God living, it ain't impossible. It may seem impossible and it may be hard, but as long as God living, you have a chance. If
Well,
God
see,
ain't living,
there's an easy way to say no. Let me
yeah,
check my calendar and get back with you.
yeah. See,
That part.
Yep.
Check my
Yep.
calendar and I'll get back with you. What's your number? Put your
yeah,
number. I get back with you. I can get back with you. But I love
yeah,
that, Princeton. If we serve a God, there's things that you know you're asked to do, or that things that are put in your path to do that is God directing you. And sometimes we want to quick be like, God, come on, that's scary. I'm not. That's something new for me, and we
yeah,
want to say no. But if God brought you to it, He's gonna do what? He's gonna
Bring
bring
you
you
through
through
it.
it.
yeah,
He's gonna bring you through it. So I like that, Princeton. Thank you
yeah,
for making that point.
yeah, yeah.
While we have future preacher Princeton, right here, let me go ahead and bring this
Actually,
question back to you.
yeah.
So I need you to
You said
finish
you're an
this
actual
sentence.
minister.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Jerusalem, yeah. Young minister, yeah, yeah. I preached for 4 years.
how do
Yeah,
you?
yeah. I'm still getting my feet in, but yeah.
Me too.
So let me ask you to finish this sentence. One thing I wish people understood about me is.
Then I'm a preacher, and I'm gonna preach it all, and I'm gonna say it how it is. I'm gonna give the advice. Hopefully, you take it the right way. because sometimes people will just take things just to take it. They will take things a certain way just to see your reaction. Because
Yeah.
nowadays people are looking for reactions just to have power over you. And where that power comes from, that's social media. And that's where it all sums up. That power is social media, the reactions. So that's why people just need to understand that I am a person who will give advice, who will, sit down and talk to you and will, just be there for you. I'm always here to hear people, out. I have friends who talk about what they done in school and talk about, how their day's been and how they feel about someone, and I hear them out and I'd be like, hey, at the end of the day, it's going to be all right.
Okay,
Can I ask him a question, Lauren?
go ahead.
What about, because you said sometimes you want people to understand that you're gonna say what it is. I mean, kind of like there's no buffer.
Mm.
What do you do when they take the advice or the comment that you have? What if they take it the wrong way? How do you handle that? How do you help them understand better?
Well, first, I will usually say, with all due respect, with
Okay.
all due respect. And if they still feel like a certain way, I'll be like, well, my apologies. I don't mean to make you feel this way, but this is just what's on my heart. And this is what I needed to get out. And that's what you unfortunately just have to do, because when you hold things in your heart, it don't destroy the relationship you have with that person. It destroys you. People go, how many people go years and decades with holding stuff in their heart. They go years, and at their trip to heaven ain't looking good, because one thing you cannot do is hold grudges, and one thing you cannot do is live without forgiving somebody. Because God forgive a lot of people. You could give a lot of people who forgave. When Jonah was disobedient, when God had Jonah go and preach to the wicked city of Neviah. I can never get the city name right in the book of Jonah, but when God had Jonah go preach in the wicked city of Neviah, Jonah fled. He fled. He basically didn't want
Okay.
to do it. And later on in that story, he got swallowed by the whale and he was drowning. Yep, he went on to drown. Obviously, God rescued him, but that also shows you that there are, like, you know consequences as well too. So when you give advice or tell somebody, don't look at it as, because some people will give advice and be like, hey, this might not sound right, but you don't know that.
Yeah.
People overthink things. You don't see the future. There's only one person who sees the future. Who's that?
God.
But
God. God.
God knows
That's
the
the only
future.
one. We talk about fortune tellers. He is the fortune teller. Talk about time traveling. He's the only one that could time travel. You know. So
And this
we
is
just.
where we pass the plate.
Yep. Yep.
But I know, in all honesty, thank you, because a lot of times, young people, I'm people. Period. That's not just a young and an old thing. There's some friends that I know I can keep it real blunt with, and there's some I gotta sugarcoat it a little bit. I gotta give it to them in bits and pieces, and like you said, I have to say this is not. This is my opinion. This is how I would handle it, or this is how what I think about it. And some people, no matter how you put it, they're gonna say, oh, you think you're better than me. No, that's not what I said. What I said is, this is, if I was in a situation, this is how I would handle it. You'd have to do what's best for you, but for me, and after I pray about it, this is how I would move with it. um and I think that's the, in this day and age, um we're so used to things happening instantly. I can click on a button and things will happen. And patience is the hardest thing to have. To ask God for something and have to wait, and to trust that He heard your prayer and that He's doing what's best for you. But sometimes, you just want things to happen. Hey, God, I saw this person. That's my person. That's my. And God's like, no, not so much. And you're like, but wait a minute, guy. I mean, look, they whole package. You know, my package. What I asked you for, and like, that's not they. No, they only talk to me when they really need me. They don't talk to me every day, and you
Put on
talk to me
that
every day,
image.
so that's not your person. I'm
Okay.
sorry. And then you'll be sitting there like, but God, there's a young lady Ariel on Instagram on IG, and she does these skits, and she has these one-on-one conversations with God, and then she'll have this whole conversation to God, and then she'll be like, I'm gonna see for myself, and then she
Okay.
goes and figures it out and
Okay.
sees for herself, and then she comes back, and he's like, so how'd that work for you? And she's like, oh my gosh, I relate to her all day long, all day long. God can say no, 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 and I'm like, but God, okay, but look, I'm gonna see for myself, and then I come back later like, okay, so should have listened. My bad. But isn't that what we do? Sometimes we think we got it all figured out and we know better than God. And we have to understand that He created us. So who are we to know better than the person who created us? So yeah, we a lot of times we have to just make sure that we are very open and honest when we talk to people about situations that come to us. And sometimes it's better to just listen and not give an answer. Sometimes if you don't have an answer, please just don't make up one just because you feel like you need to. Sometimes it's best for you to say, hey, I might not have the answer for you, but let me reach out to some of my mentors or somebody I trust and let me get back to you, instead of thinking that right there we have to be Johnny on the spot with an answer to every situation.
All right. On that great note, I want to leave everyone with this. Strength is not pretending you're okay. Strength is healing. Healing starts with honesty. And you are never meant to navigate life alone. So, if you're struggling, you need to reach out, talk to somebody, pray, and ask for support. Because your life matters, your voice matters, and your mental and emotional health matter too. I want to thank our podcasters for participating today and our viewers for watching or listening. Yay. This has been the Pew and The Porch podcast, where we keep it real and we keep it rooted. Make sure you share this conversation with somebody who needs it. And before next time, check your status. Have a great day.
Night.
Night.